Hi everyone, it's Shari Carroll for simonsaysstamp.com with a Halloween project for you using the Tim Holtz Flip Frame. I've used my frame before to display a card that has my little melody on it, but I thought it would be fun to switch it over for Halloween. So I have my tag here and I'll hang that upside down, and I'll be starting off with the Tim Holtz papers here, and I just absolutely love this paper pad for Halloween. I'll go ahead and flip through for you. This is from the Regions Beyond collection, and it has stripes and patterns, and it's all double-sided. Really great colors for Halloween and fall. I'm going to go ahead and start getting ready to collage my papers down. I've cut up a few of the pattern papers into strips, and I've folded my tag over already so that it fits into the flip frame, and I'll be using the matte medium from Dina Wakley and my big wide brush. So I'm going to go ahead and just add my matte medium into the fold area, make sure that I get both sides, and I can fold that down. I'm not going to wait for this to dry right away, so I'm just going to go ahead and flip this over and then go ahead and start adding my multi-medium onto the front of the tag. I'm using a generous amount, and I'm using my wider brush because I get really great coverage with that, and I'm just kind of moving this around. I'm going to be adding my 2 strips of paper on first, and I'll just be using them kind of full size, and I'll just be placing them next to each other. So I'll start off with this patchwork color piece first, and I'm just going to go ahead and match it up at the top, and I've decided that it ran too close to the center. I kind of want it off-centered a little bit. So I'll go ahead and make sure that I have that all straight. I have time with this matte medium to go ahead and move things around a little bit if I need to. So I'm happy with that placement. Now I can go ahead and lay this more of a text paper next to it. So I'll go ahead and press these down really well, and I'll let this dry a little bit, and then I'll trim it around with my scissors. I've cut a strip of the damask looking paper, and I'll be adding this to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit more matte medium right to the bottom. And now I can go ahead and flip my paper over and line it up. And I'm just matching it up to the bottom. I've cut that about 1 inch in size. So go ahead and line that up and trim that off. I've also trimmed up a little piece of the stripe paper, and it's really skinny. And this kind of breaks up that seam a little bit. And I've just added my matte medium right underneath it, and I'm just making sure that I line this up really well. And once I'm done with that, then I can go ahead and add my matte medium to the entire front of the tag. Next, I'm using the tissue tape, and this is also from the Regions Beyond collection from Tim Holtz. And I'm just lining up some of this across the bottom. I'll be adding different layers of this tape. I'm trying to decide exactly right where I want to place it. And I actually like it sitting above that damask pattern. And so I'll go ahead and just tear that off, and then I can flip it around to the outside or to the back side and fold it over. When I'm using tissue tape or even washi tape and it's going to be on like a home decor piece, I do like to use my matte medium with it. I think it will hold up better, so I'll put a little bit underneath and then a little bit on top as well. So I've trimmed off that little strip there to make sure that everything sits straight, and then I'll go ahead and fold over that tissue tape, and I can add more matte medium to the back side. So I'm going to continue adding another skinny strip of the tissue tape, and once again I'll be adding my matte medium. I like to use the tissue tapes to break up the patterns of the paper and also to cover up the seams. It seems to seal everything in really well. To balance things a bit and to add a little bit more color, I have this striped tissue tape that I'll be adding to the top up here. And again, I've added my multi-matte medium, and I want to make sure that I have that lined up really well. And then I can add matte medium on top too, and fold the rest over to the back. This is a really good stopping point to allow all my matte medium to dry. So I'll let this dry and I'll trim off the excess pieces. So now that this is dry, I'm going to go ahead and use the shattered glass stencil, and I'm also using the ground espresso ink with my ink blending tool, and I'm just adding a little bit of color. I want to make sure that I just get some of the brown up at the top. And this is a really great stencil for the Halloween or fall because it kind of looks like a spider web. So that's added a little bit more color and texture to my tag. I wanted to try something different, and this is just cheesecloth, and I've cut it about 1.5 inches wide off of a big piece of cheesecloth, and I'm going to go ahead and add this to my tag. So I've added some matte medium. I kind of want to fold this around, and this is going to give me some really great texture, plus I can kind of see through it. So it's not adding too much bulk to the card, but just by cutting a strip, it kind of frays a little bit, and it's really fun to work with. So I'm just patting that down to make sure it'll stay in place. I can add the matte medium on top. So I have a piece going along the bottom, and I will also want to add a piece at the top. I've put my matte medium down first, just in a couple spots, and now I'm just placing that cheesecloth around, and then I can go ahead and grab a little bit more matte medium where I need it, and go ahead and press that down. So once again, you can add it underneath and on top of that cheesecloth to keep everything in place. I'll be adding the pocket watch to my tag, and there's this picture of Edgar Allan Poe on one of these pieces of pattern paper. So I'm going to go ahead and trace around the pocket watch. This will give me a general idea of where to cut, and then I'll trim this around and go ahead and put the picture inside the pocket watch to put onto my tag. I've done some assembly and I've put a few things together. So I'm going to start off with the Wicked Alpha parts. I just used a little bit of the brushed pewter paint and also rusty hinge paint to kind of give it a nice old look. And just above that, I've added 3 brads to add a little bit of color. Then I suspended the pocket watch onto an arrow using some really fine wire. I just wrapped that around a few times and secured it down with some glossy accents. I added a spider with a jump ring on the hook at the top of the pocket watch, and then I also added Frightful from the Chit Chat seasonal stickers. To finish things off, I've added a little dangly piece using a token and skeleton to hang off from one of the rings at the upper right. I hope I've given you some inspiration to create a wicked Halloween piece for your home decor. And as always, thanks for watching.